I was pulling up old carpet in our basement when the floorboard beneath gave way, revealing a hidden room filled with photographs of me as a child, photos I'd never seen before. My husband Jake and I had just bought this house 3 months ago. It was perfect, really. Victorian charm, great neighborhood, and the price was almost too good to be true. Jake said we got lucky with a motivated seller. I should have asked more questions. The secret room was small, maybe 6 by 8 feet, with wooden walls and a single bare bulb hanging from the ceiling. But it was what covered those walls that made my blood run cold. Hundreds of photographs. All of me. Me at age 5 playing in a park I didn't recognize. Me at 7 walking to school. Me at 10 riding my bike. Me at my 8th birthday party, except I remembered that party being at Chuck E. Cheese, not in the backyard shown in these pictures. My hands shook as I pulled photo after photo from the walls. There I was at age 6, sleeping in a bed that wasn't mine. At age 9, eating dinner at a kitchen table I'd never seen. The timestamps on the photos spanned nearly a decade of my childhood. But here's the thing that made my stomach drop. In the corner of that room sat a small wooden chest. Inside were more than photos. There were report cards with my name, but from schools I'd never attended. Medical records showing doctor visits I didn't remember. And at the bottom, beneath yellowed newspaper clippings about missing children, was a birth certificate. My birth certificate. With different parents' names. I ran upstairs, photos clutched in my trembling hands. "Jake!" I screamed. "Jake, you need to see this." He was in the kitchen, casually making coffee like our world hadn't just imploded. When he saw the photos, his face went completely white. "Where did you find these?" His voice was barely a whisper. "In a secret room downstairs." "Jake, these are pictures of me as a child, but I don't remember any of these places. And there's a birth certificate with different parents' names on it. What is happening?" Jake set down his coffee mug. His hands were shaking too, but not from shock. From something else. Something that looked like guilt. "Sarah, sit down." "I don't want to sit down. I want answers." That's when he said the words that shattered everything I thought I knew about my life. "The people who raised you aren't your real parents." My legs gave out. I collapsed into the kitchen chair, photos scattering across the floor. "Your real parents were David and Linda Morrison. They lived in this house. You lived in this house until you were 11 years old." The room was spinning. "That's impossible. My parents are Tom and Susan Miller. I grew up in Oregon. I remember." "You remember what they programmed you to remember." Jake's voice was cold now. "Clinical. It's called trauma-induced memory modification. Very effective on young minds." "Who are you?" The words came out as a whisper. Jake looked at me with eyes I no longer recognized. "I work for an organization that handles relocations. Children who need to disappear. Usually for their own protection." "Protection from what?" "Your biological father had some very dangerous enemies. People who would have used you to get to him. So we arranged for your extraction and placement with a safe family." The coffee mug slipped from my numb fingers and shattered on the floor. "Extraction? You're talking about me like I'm some kind of operation." "You were. Operation Safe Harbor. I was the handler assigned to monitor your adjustment to your new life." Everything clicked into place with horrible clarity. "That's why you were so eager to buy this house. You knew. You knew this was where I used to live. The previous owners died last year. Your biological parents. We thought it was safe to let you come back. I thought it might even help with some of your recurring nightmares." I'd been having those nightmares for months. Dreams of a different bedroom, a different family, a different life. Jake had suggested I see a therapist. Now I knew why. So our entire relationship is a lie? Our marriage? Not a lie. I was assigned to watch over you, yes. But what I feel for you is real. Get out. My voice was deadly quiet. "Sarah. Get out." After Jake left, I sat in that kitchen for hours, surrounded by photos of a childhood I couldn't remember. Then I started making phone calls. I called the number on those old medical records. Dr. Peterson was retired, but he remembered the Morrison family. He remembered me. He told me about my real parents, how my father had been an FBI informant, how the family had lived in fear, how I'd been such a happy child before everything changed. I called the school on those report cards. My third-grade teacher was still there. She cried when I told her my name. She'd wondered what happened to little Sarah Morrison for 30 years. Most importantly, I called a lawyer who specialized in cases involving government overreach and illegal custody transfers. Turns out, what happened to me wasn't just morally wrong, it was completely illegal. There had been no court order, no proper channels, no oversight. I'd essentially been kidnapped by a shadow organization that didn't even officially exist. Jake came back 3 days later, expecting to find a broken, confused wife. Instead, he found packed boxes and legal documents. "I'm not running anymore," I told him. "I'm taking back my life, and I'm taking down everyone who stole it from me." The FBI was very interested in Jake's organization. Especially when I provided them with photos, documents, and recorded conversations. It seems Operation Safe Harbor wasn't an isolated incident. Jake tried to claim he was protecting me, that he'd fallen in love and lost sight of his mission. The jury didn't buy it. Neither did I. He got 15 years for conspiracy, kidnapping, and fraud. The couple who raised me, Tom and Susan Miller, they claimed they thought the adoption was legitimate. Maybe it was. Maybe they were victims too. But they'd lied to me my entire life, and that was a betrayal I couldn't forgive. I kept the house. My house. The house where I'd actually been born and raised. I turned that secret room into an office where I now help other people search for missing family members. Sometimes I catch glimpses of memories coming back. Real memories. The smell of my biological mother's perfume. The sound of my father's laugh. They're fragments, but they're mine. The nightmares stopped. Turns out, they weren't nightmares at all. They were my true memories trying to break through decades of lies. I learned something important through all of this. The truth has a way of surfacing, no matter how deep you bury it. People who claim to love you while lying to you don't love you, they love controlling you. And sometimes, the most beautiful houses hide the darkest secrets. But sometimes, those secrets can set you free. Have you experienced something like this? Tell me in the comments.